Welcome back to Scared of Beautiful. We are in a new year. Happy New Year. Happy 2022 to all of you. My name is Ples. If you are new here, please take the time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave me your comments. And for my day ones, my beauties, my bows, I have missed you all, but I am back. And if you're familiar with my channel, the intro you just saw is a little new. One series of videos that I will be rolling out this year are my reaction videos. I got a lot of people asking me to do some form of reaction videos, but I'm only going to react to what I want to react to. And this series of videos is going to be called Whoo Child. Like, whenever I'm scrolling through social media, whenever I'm watching the news, I see things that just baffle me. And I say, Whoo Child, all the time with my friends, with my family. So that is what this is. Welcome to the first Whoo Child video. I got off work last night and was scrolling through YouTube, and a recommendation popped up on my feed for this Arionne Curry tell-all interview where she was sitting down with Tasha K to tell her side of things. Now, if you all don't know who Arionne Curry is, she is, from all appearances, a nice young lady. However, she is a mistress slash side chick to Martell Holt of the Holt, what used to be the Holt family, of owns Love and Marriage Huntsville. So if you are in these reality TV streets, you probably know who Arionne is. But if you don't, that's who she is. She has been brought up pretty frequently on the show as she has been cheating with this married man for 5 or 6 years. And ultimately, the couple went on to get a divorce. It's debatable whether or not her affair was the cause of the divorce, but we'll get into all of that later. So thank you all for joining me today. One last thing, I have enacted memberships on my channel. So if you all want to join the channel, show your support on a monthly basis, I would greatly appreciate it. And I have a lot coming this new year. So let's get into it, y'all. Whoo child. This interview was a lot of things. A lot of times I was left with my mouth hanging open. I just did not know. I can't say I didn't know what to say because, as you'll see in a minute, I have a lot to say. But I will say it inspired me because these reality TV streets have gotten beyond boring to me. I'll be honest. I kind of tapped out on Love and Marriage Huntsville towards the end of last year, around November or so. Melody almost made me like Martell this year. I was not happy with what I thought was going to be a good show about married couples. Of course, you always want a little drama, but I literally got tired of the drama. I got tired of Melody's voice. Martell. Oh God. Oh God. And at this point, it's been going on for years. So this interview lit a spark, it lit a match. It was like, okay, I gotta talk about this one. I have got to talk about this one, y'all. Okay. Got my notes. I'm ready to go. The first takeaway from this interview for me was that family ain't nothing. And that's the nicest way I can say it. Family ain't, I know what I'm saying, ish. You hear me? Arionne Curry tells Tasha K that she was at a family member of Martell Holt's house for a barbecue, and that female cousin, his female cousin that knows his bald-headed muscle man self is married, is the one who initiated the contact between her and Martell. Martell was looking at her, eyeing her up and down, trying to read her mind, as Avant would say, and sent his cousin, his female cousin, to do the dirty work and let her know he was feeling her. She said she was feeling him as well. He was a very attractive man. And the rest is history. Between what we've seen on the show of his mother coddling him and now hearing about this female cousin, I now see and understand a lot of how and why Martell is the way he is. It's honestly why a lot of men are the way that they are. The female family members not only see the BS and look the other way, they encourage it. They play a hand in it. That knocked my socks off from the gate, right? And it only got better. Next, y'all, Tasha basically called this girl a slore to her face. She played in her face this whole interview, and that poor little baby was too, I'm going to call her dense because that's the nicest way I can say it, to see it. I mean, she thought she had a friend, y'all. You thought that you had a friend. Rest in peace, Betty White. I'm going to miss her. But yeah, she really thought she had a friend with Tasha K. And I really don't understand. Like, this is the same woman who you even say in this interview, you didn't want to talk to her. You were very angry with her because in the earlier seasons, she allegedly leaked a phone call that you and her had where you did not know that you were being recorded. And yet you come back to her for another interview to get your side out. All the while, she was playing in your face in traffic. She tries to do it in a real nice, nasty way. It's very endearing. It's very, you're actually very much like Melody. I mean, you just did an interview with Melody, and you are going to sit and compare the mistress / side chick / whatever y'all want to call this girl to the wife. Tasha K says, you look like Melody, you're just really the more wild version of her. Wild. And if you know the show, y'all know Martell is always raving about whatever Miss Arionne is over there doing to him in the bedroom. So that is where this wildness comes from. That, ma'am, when someone says you do what his wife won't do, that's not necessarily a compliment at all, especially not in this situation. Arionne stops and she's like, don't do that. Don't do that. I am not wild. Of my peer group, of my friends, I'm the most conservative one. Well, who are your friends, girl? Because that we got to see them to gauge how conservative that is, right? She says she's not a sexual person and that she can count on one hand, y'all, one hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many partners that she's had. Yeah, girl, we hear you. I can't call her a liar. But yeah, that According to her, she can count her partners on one hand. She claims that she and Martell waited 8 or 9 months before they even slept together. Like, Martell thought he was going to take her to a hotel room that night at the cousin's barbecue, but she said, no, sir, no, sir, not these goodies, not my goodies, not my goodies, not tonight. So they waited 8 to 9 months before they had sex. She knew he was married before the sex, so she didn't know the night of the barbecue. But sometime between the barbecue and the 8 to 9 months, word on the streets got back to her that he was in fact married. She asked him about it. He told her, yes, I am married. But she continued. That did not stop her. She hadn't even had sex with him, but she says their connection was so strong, their conversations were so good that she continued on building whatever they were trying to build. No one can tell me that Martell has this much game. Like, I refuse to believe that. I refuse. I don't see it. I don't see anything that shows me that he would be able to run game like this to most normal, well-adjusted people. The next point was that Arionne admitted that Martell never said he would leave his wife. So usually in situations like this, the man is like, oh, I'm so unhappy at home and she's not doing XYZ, but you're the best. And, once the kids get out of high school, I'm leaving. Once the kids get out of college, I'm leaving. I'm just there for the kids. But she admits that Martell never did that. He never said that he was going to leave his wife, but that Martell actually did feel guilty for cheating, for engaging in their little entanglement. He really felt guilty about that, but that he would never leave either of them alone. So you knew this was a dead-end situation. You saw the road before you even really got on it, but you still signed up for the ride. Okay. Yeah. I don't understand it, but it's not for me to understand. Just really good insight into your character. Next, Arionne is adamant that she was never, ever disrespectful to Melody. She said most wives would say that she was disrespectful by talking to Melody and arguing with her, but she doesn't think that she was ever disrespectful. Well, I'm here to tell you, you were, sis. You were. Like, just own that. That's disrespectful. At no point should you have had a conversation with Melody. Not if you are properly playing whatever role that you signed up to play. Because again, remember, you knew he was married before you all were even intimate. So you knew what you were walking into. There was no reason to have a Barbara, this is Shirley type moment. None at all. She says that Martell told her she should not have talked to Melody. And he's absolutely correct. Like, this is one time when I can actually agree with Martell Holt. You shouldn't have. Honestly, both of you all were sloppy. This is how that should have went. Y'all needed a bad signal, sis. You needed a signal. You needed a call 2 times and hang up. You needed a special text. We don't have pagers anymore. So you needed a special text. You needed something that would help you avoid any type of confrontation between you and this man's wife. Like, if he's not answering, stop calling. He will call when he can get to the phone and is available. You can't call somebody back to back to back and think that's not going to look suspicious. If she answers the phone, guess what you do? You hang up. You hang up. Have some respect about yourself. Why are you talking to this man's wife? You are supposed to respect the woman of that house and stay in your lane. Because again, you signed up for this all day. You requested that Uber, sweetie. So you were completely disrespectful and out of line. Ultimately, though, I don't blame you. Ultimately, I blame Martell because he allowed you to disrespect his wife. Furthermore, he continued to deal with you while you disrespected his wife. Martell said it himself. The old school players in Alabama told him, no, you cut that off. When someone disrespects and jeopardizes home, you cut them off. But no, he couldn't do that. It is what it is. So he continued to allow you to disrespect his wife. Now we know, if you didn't watch the show, I'll let you know. Melody says she found out around year 3 of the affair. She thought she could work on her marriage. She chose to stay. She ultimately stayed and even had another child for him while listening to her husband and trying to make it work. I understand. I really do. And I know Mel really wanted to make her marriage work. I just hope more women take this as a cautionary tale. I needed Melody.
You're a liar. And you're a cheat. And I don't want you. No, I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you no more.
That's it. Now, we all know that Sister Catherine stayed as well. But Sister Catherine never really worked. Like, that was then. We don't have to do what our grandmothers and our aunts and other people did. Melody, as we have now seen from all of the fallout, was the main breadwinner in that family. She held all of the keys. So I'm so happy that she has now gone through with her divorce, but I wish she would have done it sooner because no one deserves the level of disrespect that she had to endure from this young lady. Next, Arionne tells us that she never pressured Martell to leave his marriage. So you were cool with being the side chick / mistress / whatever y'all want to dress it up as. You were cool with being the other woman. She said that she agreed with Martell about wanting to keep his kids in a 2-parent household. So you want him to stay for his children. You don't think the children will be devastated to find out that daddy got a whole woman on the side the whole while he was living with mama and us? Like, this logic is not logicking, y'all. She says she finally did get frustrated when she would try to leave Martell and try to pull away and he wouldn't let her go, whatever that means. And at that point, she would start to say, well, if you're so unhappy, then leave. Girl, they ain't gonna never leave. That if he was leaving, he would have left a long time ago. He would leave of his own volition. He would say, I'm unhappy. I'm filing these papers. I'm done. I'm going over here where my grass is being watered and I'm getting all of my needs met. But you all are giving him a choice. He's never going to. Who does that? I mean, people with integrity do, but be clear, Martell doesn't have that. Next, y'all, Arionne, she, on one hand, she claims that she takes responsibility for her part in the relationship, but ultimately she just says, I got caught up in my connection. Martell was very good to me. She didn't want to elaborate on that part. Tasha K kind of backed her in a corner on that one and listed all the ways that he was good for her, taking care of her nursing school bills, allegedly buying her the same car as his wife. But Arionne wants us to believe that she was just caught up, caught up in the rapture of love. Or my other favorite, Usher. She was just so caught up, got a feeling that caught up. Girl, no, no, no. And look what being caught up has gotten. Like nothing. Nothing really of substance, nothing to show for it. Your name is being drug up and down everywhere. All because you couldn't cut it off in the beginning. Next, she talks about her child. Y'all who don't watch the show, Arionne now has a child for Martell Holt. They have a son together. He's a gorgeous baby. But I gotta call Arionne on her explanation. She claims the baby just kind of happened. Ma'am, no, we can't allow that. At your big age, you know what sex and unprotected sex, especially in pregnancies, you know how these things work. You were already a mother. You have a young daughter who's, I think, a preteen around 8 or 9. So you know how this goes. You know the birds and bees. No one has to teach you. You can't legitimately say that this just happened. There are tons of ways to avoid unwanted pregnancies, but the key is they have to be unwanted. You two selfish adults, you and Martell, y'all just weren't doing anything to prevent these pregnancies, like at all. How do we know they weren't doing anything to prevent the pregnancies? Well, I'll tell you. Arionne lets us know that she was actually pregnant for Martell 3 times, 1, 2, 3, over the course of their relationship. Shocking. I was very shocked to hear that. The first time she says that she had a miscarriage. The second time she says she had an abortion. And that during the second pregnancy, she was pregnant at the same time as Melody. Then finally, she says the third time she got pregnant, she kept her son. She was not having any more abortions. She says Martell tried to pressure her into getting one, but she refused. Tasha K says that they need to get their hands on Martell's credit card receipts because allegedly he has been paying for several abortions. Next, Tasha K asked her about her parents and what her parents have said about this relationship. Her mom, her dad, what have they said? Her family in general. And asked her if she was raised in a 2-parent household. Y'all, our schools are failing us. Somebody is failing somebody. This bird kept saying that she was raised in a 2-parent household, but she kept doing this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Girl, that's not what that means. That's not 1, 2. Okay. So she kept doing it. And this right here lets us know that she doesn't know what a two-parent household is. It's like when you ask a little kid, did they do something wrong? If they broke a lamp and they're like, no, no, like saying no, but shaking their head yes. Two-parent household. No, ma'am. I don't, what do you do with that? Like, I, it was so funny to watch that the light didn't come on and click her that a two-parent household means your mother and your father were both in the same household. Needless to say, Arionne was raised by a single mother. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's be clear. But her mother was never married. So she was, in fact, not raised in a two-parent household. She claims that 20-year-old Arionne was all about herself. But now 30-year-old Arionne is all about Black women sticking together. She says this all while she continues to shade the other wives on the Love and Marriage Huntsville show. She also shades the alleged side chicks / mistresses of the other husbands of the show by calling them linebackers. So if you didn't watch the show, in the last reunion, the men, or basically Marceau, alleged that all of the men have hung around Arionne. Maurice tried to deny it. Marceau later put receipts on Instagram in the form of a picture of all of the guys hanging out on this trip in Atlanta, and allegedly Arionne took the picture for this trip, right? So Arionne says she was really alarmed at how the other women on the trip who Marceau and Maurice were messing around with were built. She alleges that they were built like linebackers. Now, y'all, it doesn't take rocket science to know what that alludes to, but she goes on to say that the women were stout. I'm guessing she means fat, pudgy, chubby, whatever you want to call them, with a wide back. They were not cute or petite like her. So she just kind of wondered what these men's wives looked like, because if this is what they were cheating with, she didn't understand. Women who have this mindset and this attitude of Arionne deserve whatever they get. People love to think that their man has a certain type. The type is anything warm, wet, open, and inviting. Let's stop it. For most men, there are some that won't, engage with certain women, but for the majority of them, it is what it is. And one thing's for sure, two things for certain: being cute and petite has never stopped any woman from being cheated on. Melody is cute and petite, and he was over there with you. So that's never a recipe to say that your man won't be with a certain type of woman, or that he would never cheat on you. Also, if I were her, I would definitely check that attitude, because ultimately you and the linebacker women were on the same side chick mistress retreat to Atlanta, of all places. Y'all didn't get flued out. Y'all didn't go to the Bahamas. You all were in Atlanta, which is a short drive from Huntsville, Alabama. So don't make it seem like you were being held in such an esteem. You don't know what perks those other women were getting from those men. They may have been getting the same perks that you allege Martell gave you. So ultimately, if y'all are in the same place, what does being cute or petite really get you? Like, what did that get you? Just an empty sense of superiority over other women because you think you physically look better than them, but you still got what they got. Oh, okay, girl. She is adamant next that she did not destroy a marriage. She insists that Martell pursued her, that he obviously was unhappy. He started to look elsewhere, but she didn't affect anything in his household. Like, it wasn't me. That was a classic. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything. I didn't pursue him. It really doesn't matter, girl. That's not how that works. You definitely may not have been the sole cause of the demise of their marriage, but you definitely were a factor. Like, let's be clear. You knew he was married before y'all had sex, and you chose to continue. Like, you could have opted out of this relationship at any point, and you chose not to. Because I think ultimately you did like the ego stroke that you were getting, that this man was sneaking away and doing all of these things just to be with you, that you somehow had a leg up, literally, on his wife, and that you liked the material things and the financial benefits of being with him. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Speaking of, she claims that any material gain she received from Martell was not worth the public humiliation she has now experienced. I mean, it is what it is, girl. You made your bed, lie in it. Silver and gold. You from the South. I know you done heard these Baptist songs, these scriptures. Know them people raised you in the church. Everything that glitters is not gold, honey. And when you sell your soul for pennies on the dollar, you can't be mad at the return that you get. Too bad, so sad. Um, this, y'all, I ain't gonna lie, this is gonna take a minute, but I gotta really get into this one. The next part of the interview, Arionne addresses the producers of Love and Marriage Huntsville, and she tells them not to use her likeness anymore, right? Let me throw up my little disclaimer for y'all right quick. Okay. If you did not read or see it, I'm just going to give a verbal disclaimer as well. Anything stated by players on Scared of Beautiful is commentary, right? This is commentary. This is not, I repeat, this is not legal advice. This is edutainment. I am not creating any type of attorney-client relationship in anything that I say. Anything that I do talk about that may contain some type of legal commentary, please know, again, it's just general commentary. If you have an actual legal issue, you should contact a licensed attorney in your state of residence. So, anything that I say from this point on is not legal advice. There is no attorney-client relationship. I am just up here giving my commentary on what I saw in the interview. And this particular issue has some legal terminology and nuances, but, allegedly, I'm not an attorney. I just play one at my job. And that ain't what I'm doing on YouTube. This is commentary. So, I really have a pet peeve when non-legal people give people what amounts to bad information. I'll say that. or their personal perspective on different legal issues. Legal issues are very complex sometimes. They also are very subjective. Like it really depends on the facts and the circumstances of your case. So even if you think you had a case just like your friend, you still don't technically know the ins and outs of their case, the evidence that exists. So telling them, oh, girl, you should just do this is really not a good thing to say because they may not have the same outcome that you allegedly had in your legal situation. So, getting into this whole using of her likeness, right? I saw a lot of people in the chat kind of saying that they have never seen Arionne's picture on the show. I can agree. I've been watching Love and Marriage Huntsville since the first season. I do not recall ever seeing a picture of her on the show. I don't feel like doing a deep dive. So, y'all, this is my recollection. I'm not going to swear that they never did it. I just don't recall ever seeing it. However, your likeness in the legal sense of the word can be many things. A likeness can be someone's image, it can be their name, it can be their voice, it can be their signature, etc., etc., etc. Again, it's based on the laws in the state in which you live. However, it's usually not just your image. It can be other things. I don't believe that they have ever used her image. I do recall recently a few cast members, I think mainly Martell, have begun to use her actual name. For the longest, she was just referred to as like the other woman. Excuse me for these but also her voice exactly was used, her voice absolutely was used on a phone call with Martell. I distinctly remember that he was in the phone riding somewhere and he was talking to her over the Bluetooth speakers in his car. So her voice has been used. Now, whenever someone tries to allege a misappropriation of someone's likeness, several things have to be shown generally, right? Generally, one of those things is that the likeness was used for an exploitative purpose. Now, that's debatable, right? Some people could say, yeah, they're exploiting her on the show. However, they're not really advertising her. It's all part of what's going on in the cast members' lives. A more appropriate equivalence would be if Melody went and made Side Chick of the Year award t-shirts with her face, right? Definitely trying to use it for an exploitative purpose. So that factor can kind of go both ways. It really would rely on the evidence that's presented in the analysis of the judge and or jury, right? So the next thing is that you have to show that the likeness was not used during like news reporting or any other matter that includes a legitimate public interest. Legitimate public interest, y'all, is a very wide. The factors for that are so broad, so broad. It's not just, oh, let's say if it was a criminal, right? Because think about it. If you couldn't use anyone's image, if there was a wanted suspect out, they could potentially sue the news station for using their picture. No. Stopping crime is a legitimate public interest. Got me? Okay. So Another factor that's usually a point in these cases is that you have to show that the person who used your likeness, or the company, or the entity, or whatever you want to call it, who used your likeness, used it without your consent. You hear what I said? Heard it said. You have to show that they used it without your consent. Sorry about that. That means you have to make sure that no consent at any time was ever given by you to this party to use your likeness.
You see something that you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you? You see something that you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
So in my commentating opinion, my viewers commentating opinion, I think someone could likely argue that Arionne has given some form of consent for OWN. Why do I think that? They used her voice in that phone call with Martell. I'm pretty sure the team of lawyers at OWN, or through the show's production company, has had her sign a release form to use her voice. If they did not, for whatever reason, have an actual form, some could argue that she gave implied consent because she didn't send them a cease and desist letter immediately as soon as the episode aired. She also talks about how she has actually filmed scenes with Martell before, but the scenes have never aired. I can almost guarantee you all that they have a signed consent form somewhere for her. And usually, that's why you have to be very careful and read what you sign. Because usually when shows like this ask you to give up consent to use your likeness, it's forever, in perpetuity, honey. Like, as long as the show is on air. Now, you can revoke that consent. But if she has filmed with Martell before, we just haven't seen it, I can pretty much assure you that they have some type of consent form for her somewhere. But outside of consent, there are times when your likeness can legitimately be used even without your consent. I already talked about news. Commentary is another time when your image can be used. And when there are matters of public interest, as I said, this exception is very broad. Another protected form of content, since we're talking about media stuff, is creative works. So whenever you see unauthorized documentary, this biopic that the family doesn't want you to see, or parodies, right? All of those are instances where people can use your likeness because it is a creative work that is protected by a specific exception. Like, think about all the parodies we see. SNL would not exist. Saturday Night Live would not exist if we could not use people's likenesses. Because again, remember, it's not just image. It can be voice. It can be someone pitching their voice to sound like that person, or in the matter of SNL, they dress up like the people. All of those things are insinuations. When I look at these skits on SNL, I know who they are making fun of. Right? So those things wouldn't exist if you could not use someone, like if anytime someone said, oh no, I didn't like that, I don't want you to use my likeness, take it down, or I didn't give you permission. Some things you don't have to have permission for, right? Now, some would say, okay, none of those things really apply to Arionne because she's not a public figure. Perhaps, but Is she though?
Aha! Aha!
I mean, aha. Arionne wasn't a public figure when the show started. In the show, they talked about Martell's infidelity and they talked about the other woman. Nosy people, people in her hometown, people in Huntsville, people wherever, started leaking her name and her information to say that this is the other woman. Then Arionne herself started to confirm it by reaching out to people like Tasha K and Funky Dineva and others. So she opened that door herself. She made herself public by choosing to engage. If she wanted to stay private, she could have immediately sent out a cease and desist to all interested parties and tried to cut it off as soon as it started, but she chose to engage in the BS. So now you've basically made yourself a public figure. The last thing that I really point out before I move on to another topic is that her baby daddy, Martell Holt, is still very much a producer on this show. Look at the credits, producer, Melody Holt, Martell Holt. He knows what is going on. He knows the conversations that he's having, and he chooses to continue to film and have these conversations for a check. Are you really going to sue the show and stop what seems to be the only bag your baby daddy could potentially have left coming in? Are you? Like, that takes food out of your son's mouth. You got to learn how to start being more long-sighted, girl. We get it. You were young. You were 24 when this started. You're 31 now. You got to start making some better decisions. So I'm not giving legal advice. I'm saying if it were me in this situation, I would probably save my time, my money, my energy, my resources, and leave that alone. Now, she could potentially send a cease and desist moving forward. Like I said earlier, you can withdraw consent. So you can say, moving forward, please do not use my name, my voice, my likeness, or else blah, blah, blah. But I honestly don't think that she will, and I don't think that she wants to stop. Because as she kept saying in the show, I'm in the interview with Tasha K, she wants to be on Love and Marriage Huntsville and give her side of things. So do you want the attention or not, sis? Because I don't know what you think getting on that show will do for you. I think you're being driven by emotion and ego because people are going to eat you alive out off of this interview alone. Imagine if you had a season worth of that editing that Carlos King and them do. Oh, girl, better stop while you're ahead. Again, this is entertainment. This is edutainment. Nothing that I said was legal advice. Please do not construe it as such. If you have a legal matter, if you would like to discuss someone using your image without your consent or your likeness without your consent, please consult a licensed attorney in your state. Now that we got that mess out of the way, y'all, this girl had the nerve, the audacity, the gall, the everything that you want to call it, to say that her feelings of how she has been allegedly handled by this show are personal, and it goes all the way up to Oprah Winfrey. She is upset and has looked up to Oprah her whole life, and she doesn't understand why Oprah would let this happen to her. Now, when she said this, I literally let out the biggest belly laugh. I let out the biggest belly laugh. Like, Oprah, girl, you mad at Oprah? Of all the people, you mad at Oprah? Like, Stedman's long-term partner, Oprah, Gail's best friend, Oprah? Really? Really? Okay. She's upset with Oprah, y'all. I need us to stop doing this. I need us to stop thinking that Black women in certain positions owe us, well, I don't want to say owe us something, but should stop something that we signed up for, right? I do believe that there should be more responsible reality TV out there, which is why I haven't been watching a lot of these shows. But if we're going to put it on Oprah, we also have to put it on ourselves, right? Like, the audience has a say as well. If we didn't watch this stuff, if we didn't drive up the ratings for this particular show, it would get canceled. So the public has a responsibility as well. But if you are going to go to the top, if you want to blame someone for what is going on at OWN, I need you to know that it's not Oprah. Okay? Not Oprah at all. Oprah actually owns very, very little of OWN, right? Although it is called the Oprah Winfrey Network, Oprah does not own OWN. Well, you might want to say, who owns OWN? Let me tell you. David Zaslav. I know y'all like, Harpo, who this white man? That's what I said too. David Zaslav. Let me make this bigger since my thing is in the way. Okay, it's still in the way. David is who technically owns OWN. Oprah Winfrey actually has never owned OWN. She was never the full owner of OWN. When OWN was launched in 2011, Oprah owned 50%, and the other 50% was owned by Discovery Inc. So David is the CEO and head of Discovery Inc. In 2017, Oprah sold 24.5% of her shares in OWN to Discovery Inc. In December 2020, Oprah sold another 20% of her shares to Discovery Inc. And accordingly, as of January 2022, where we are now, Oprah only owns about 5% of OWN. 95% of it is owned by Discovery Inc. And Discovery Inc. is currently merging with Warner Media. Oprah has maintained her position as the CEO and Chief Creative Officer of OWN, but her voice likely doesn't hold as much weight since she has this dilution of shares. So, Arionne, I'm sorry. You probably really need to take your complaints on over to David. Leave Oprah out of this because, as you said yourself, she probably does not even know who you are. She doesn't know who you are. So stop playing the victim, right? Stop playing the victim and leave Oprah out of your mess. Towards the end of the interview, Tasha, let me get this off the screen. Sorry, y'all. Towards the end of the interview, Tasha tries to browbeat Arionne into apologizing to Mel. That was hilarious to me because we've never seen Melody ask for an apology, especially not from her. Like, no one wants an insincere, fake apology from anyone, let alone the heifer that was screwing your husband. No one wants that. What can you do with that? Not a thing. Nothing. Arionne says she cannot and will not apologize. She did not chase a married man. She says that Melody has wronged her as well, and that if she can't get on the show, again, the show that has allegedly ruined her life, to tell her side, then she's not engaging with Melody at all. Tasha K goes down the completely wrong road, wrong alley, wrong all of that crap, and gets her cell phone to allegedly text and or call Melody to see if she is open to speaking with Arionne. Ma'am. Arionne blabbers some more stuff about what all Melody has done to us. Tasha claims that they should try to be women and come together and create this friendship, or at least be cordial with each other and make peace for their kids. I finally agree with Arionne on something. She says that that's Martell's job. She prays that nothing happens to Martell, and if something happens to him, hopefully it will be at a time when the children will have their own relationship already established and can continue their relationship on their own. I agree. It is Martell's job to foster any relationship building between his two sets of children. That has nothing to do with Melody or Arionne. Tasha asks Arionne if she would apologize if Melody also apologizes to her. I was completely lost on that. Like, completely, utterly lost. What exactly does Melody have to apologize for? I mean, I guess you could say she needs to apologize. She could, I ain't gonna say needs. She could apologize for the side chick song. But ultimately, that's her story. That's her life. It happened to her. So she can talk about it and grieve and get her pain out however she wants to. I am not a fan of fake apologies. You did what you did. I did what I did. You said what you said. I said what I had to say. That's it. That's all. You can forgive people without apologies. You can move on without apologies. Do not play in my face, and Arionne, don't go over there playing in Melody face. I don't care what Tasha K told you. Texting that lady, calling that lady, doing anything with that lady, saying, I'm sorry for sleeping with your husband for the last 6-7 years. Don't do that. Please don't. I'm sorry. Now, she can... Martell has the children in his time. So a great apology would be whenever, if and when he brings you around his other children, that you are nice and respectful and cordial to those children, that you treat them well. That's all you need to do. Nothing else is needed from you, ma'am. Tasha goes on to say that Arionne won. Again, Arionne has some sense and says, no, I didn't. Girl, I got to give you a hand clap on that one. You did not win. Martell ain't no prize. No one won. Kids lost. The Holt family lost. You lost. Everybody lost. There were no winners, honestly, in this situation. Tasha keeps telling her that she's sure Arionne will be married one day. Arionne says she doesn't know if she ever wants to get married because the statistics of Black men cheating are just not, they're the worst. And she doesn't believe that she'll ever get married because of that. Well, duh. You helped one cheat. So what you think gonna happen to you when and if you get married? So you may be right in that you will never get married. But then I wonder, if you never get married, does this mean, because as you get older, more and more men are married. So if you never get married, does that mean you're just going to become another mistress to somebody else's husband? Things that make you say, Tasha then says, well, Black women cheat as well, references Mel's alleged situation. Arionne says she knows all about it and alleges that Mel had an affair with the Holt's attorney, and that Martell told her all about it. She was like, he came crying to you. She's like, he wasn't crying. Girl. He was crying. You just didn't know what he was crying about. Y'all know when you are in a relationship with somebody and they come and they're picking a fight with you, or they're going off on you about something, and you're like, what happened? What happened was he found out his wife had this alleged affair, because I don't believe nothing Martell Holt got to say, with this man. Even if it was an emotional affair, even if it was just a one-time thing of her receiving some knowledge from someone else, whatever, he was upset. You can't tell me he just calmly sat there and told you, oh, I found out Mel was doing, girl, but ain't nothing about that man ever been calm. The alleged steroids won't allow it. Anyway, Tasha then asks about karma. Does she ever think she'll get karma? Arionne feels that the show has been her karma. Next, Arionne, y'all, gives us a life lesson. Young women and old women, wherever you are, if you don't want to call yourself old, such and such years with experience, young at heart, whatever you want to call yourself, don't be an Arionne Curry. She said that out of her own mouth. Don't be an Arionne Curry. Best advice she ever gave. Now, she did say it in the context of feeling regret for dealing with a married man for 6 years and never having sex with any other man. I don't know how that supposedly helps you, especially since you claim you only been with 5 men, or less than however many. 5, you can only count them on one hand. But it seems like she regrets that she was saving all her love for Martell. She wished she had spread it around a little bit more. Another gem she says is that both her and Martell are broken. Yes. Self-awareness is the first step. It's definitely the first step. And I'm glad you recognize that. I hope you are able to heal yourself and not just jump into a new relationship since you claim you and Martell are no longer together. She dodges the question. Tasha K asks her if she would ever marry Martell now that he's single and ready to mingle. She says Martell needs therapy. He does. You do too, but he definitely does. But she doesn't say no. So Martell, if you go get therapy, you may be able to get your 20. That 80-20 rule. So your 20 might be willing to let you put a ring on it if you go get some help. She says that she quit nursing. He paid all that money for nursing school, and she's not even a nurse at this point in her life because of the trauma of the show. But she claims that her online boutique is doing very well. She's writing a book that will be released in the spring of 2022. She wants to film the show, Love and Marriage Huntsville, but she says that Mel would not film if she does. I still can't understand for the life of me why you would want to be a part of something that you claim has traumatized you so much. Like, do you think they're actually going to give you segments with your friends, or are you only going to talk to Martell the whole time? Because them other women, Kimmy, Tisha, Destiny, like they're not going to film and talk to you. They're not. By proxy, their husbands are not going to film and talk to you. Because Kimmy, I think, would cut Maurice all the way up. So, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Y'all, that's it. I wanted to get this done quicker, but y'all know how it is. I had a lot that I wanted to say. I really wanted to get this out. If y'all have not seen the interview, please go check it out. It's over on Tasha K's channel. It's only about an hour or so. For me, the main morals of this story were: one, family ain't ish. Family ain't ish. The dude's female cousin is the one who initiated the contact between he and Arionne. Two, her people. She admits that her and Martell are both broken, and two broken people should never, ever be in a relationship, and they shouldn't be out here procreating. But what's done is done. Three, don't be an Arionne Curry. All right? Whew, that was a lot. The interview was a lot. But y'all, leave me your comments. Make sure you like the video. Share it with your friends. Share it around town. Leave me some comments. Let's run up this algorithm. Get us back in it for 2022. Scared of Beautiful. I am here. My name is Ples. I love y'all. Thank you all for joining me today. I will be back soon with another video. Definitely going to be doing some Married at First Sight. I'm going to do a catch-up video with you all, but I can't wait to see you all next time. Love you all. Bye.